It's Bloomburrow time. I've been looking forward to this set. Let's see how I end up. 15 traditional foil and 15 regular basic lands. Oversized spin down, 9 14 card Bloomburrow play boosters, card box, alt art, traditional foil thunder trap trainer. Oh. Was it like a top down situation? Oh. We got there. Okay, well, then mayhaps I want to get some sleeves for that. Oh, the lands are cool. I like that. Wonder if I should get like a better zoom going on this. Well, we shouldn't spend too much time on these, because this is just all the lands, right? Super pretty, though. Awesome. We'll focus on those later. Let's get to the meat and potatoes. I picked a bad day to cut my fingernails. Okay. I'm trying to remember, I think the really rare card is on top. So cash grab. I think maybe the way to go about this is I'll organize by color, because that's just how I typically establish things as a start. Roughshod Duo, Mind Spiral, Sonar Strike. Maybe this camera should be flipped. Let's see here. Transform, flip vertical. There you go. Pond Profit. Do multicolor over here. Honored Dray Leader. And a blue land that lets you surveil. That's kind of cool. The land over here. Shoreline Looter. Deals combat damage to a player, draw a card, then discard a card, unless 7 or more cards are in your graveyard. Huh. Bell. Nice black removal. Whisker Veil, Forerunner. Oh, this is white. What am I doing? Okay, we got the green commander, Lumra. Pretty cool. Another normal looking planes, but very pretty art. I'll tuck that in here. Sazakap's Brew. Gift a tapped fish. What? You may promise an opponent a gift as you cast this spell. If you do, they create a tapped 1/1 blue fish creature token. There's a give people a fish? Here. Cute. Okay. And then Nocturnal Hunger. Interesting. Well, not a bad start. We got a mono green commander that I might consider playing. Her power and toughness is equal to the number of lands you control. When she enters, mill 4 cards, then return all lands from the graveyard to the battlefield tapped. That's pretty cool. So you can just mill the hell out of your deck and get a bunch of lands into your graveyard, play her as your commander, and it's instant ramp. Not bad. Dire Downdraft I saw. Life Creed Duo. Whenever another creature enters, you gain 1 life. Oh, nice. That's good. A Gate Blade Assassin. Defending player loses 1 life and you gain 1 life when this attacks. Cool. Treetop Sentries. Oh, look at the little squirrels. That's cute. That's the only problem is... Oh, I guess I should flip. Let's see. Transform, flip horizontal. There, now you can read the text. Cool. First Magic video. I mean, I've done playing Magic games on stream before, but never a card opening like this. I'd like to do more of them, though. It's a fun thing to watch. It's very chill. Watersprout Warden. Moonrise Cleric. It's a bat cleric. Whenever it attacks, you gain 1 life. That's interesting. I pulled the Bat God in Caverns of Ixalan and I gave it to a friend, and I was happy to. But the more I see these bat creatures, the more I'm like, playing bats as a tribal could be fun. At the beginning of combat, on your turn, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Oh. This is cool. I have a similar artifact from Caverns of Ixalan that every, I think, upkeep, I drain 1 life from my opponents, so this would be equally good. I like that. Might have to flesh out a mono black deck. Builder's Talent. Create a 0 for a white wall creature token. Whenever 1 or more non-creature, non-land permanents you control enter, put a +1/+1 counter. And when this becomes level 3, return target non-creature, non-land permanent card from the graveyard to the battlefield. Huh. Nice. That's pretty neat. I like that. Curious Forager. Squirrel Druid. You may forage. When you do, return target permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. To forage, exile 3 cards from your graveyard or sacrifice a food. Huh. Daring Wave Rider. You may cast instant or sorcery card with mana value 4 or less from your graveyard without paying its mana cost. That spell would be put into your graveyard exile instead. Thickened Green Shell. Elemental Turtle. You control 10 or more lands, creatures you control get +2/+2. Damn. This probably couples well with the Lumra. That's nice. Whenever a green shell or another creature you control with toughness greater than its power enters, look at the top card of your library. If it's a land card, you may put it onto the battlefield tapped. Yeah, that's very similar effect. And we got a basic island. Very cool. Another one of these Sazakap's brews where you can give someone a fish. Teach a man to fish. Nocturnal Hunger. Gift of food. Destroy target creature. If the gift wasn't promised, you lose 2 life. Huh. It's kind of interesting. You can escape losing life by giving someone some life. Cash Grab we saw. Roughshod Duo we saw. Mind Spiral we saw. Ravine Raider. 1/1 Menace. +1/+1 until end of turn. It's an interesting little early game creature. Patchwork Banner. As it enters, choose a creature type. Creatures you control of the chosen type get +1/+1. Add 1 mana of any color. A mana rock that gives an anthem to creatures. That's cool. Good tribal artifact. Long River Lurker. Ward 1. Other frogs you control have Ward 1. When it enters, target creature you control can't be blocked this turn. Whenever that creature deals combat damage this turn, you may exile it. If you do, returns to the battlefield and it's under... Oh, wow. Cool. Interesting effect. Boros, my favorite color combo. Seedglaive Mentor, Mouse Soldier, 3/2, Vigilance and Haste. Whenever Seedglaive Mentor becomes the target of a spell or ability you control for the first time each turn, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Not bad. Tough little mouse. Cute. Rabid Gnaw. Target creature you control gets +1 until end of turn, then it deals damage equal to its power to target creature you don't control. Okay. Nice little removal. Thunder Trap Trainer. Oh, okay. This is the normal art, I guess, to the alt art of this. Seems pretty cool. I dig it. Legendary creature, elemental bird. Maha, its feathers knight. Flying trample, ward, discard a card. Creatures your opponents control have base toughness 1. Okay. I might have to play mono black with this as a commander. That's fun. Just make all the creatures weak. And if you go to remove my commander, you have to discard a card. That's really good defense. I like that. Finch Formation. 2/2 Bird Scout. Offspring 3. You pay an additional 3 as you cast this spell. Create a 1/1 token copy of it. When this creature enters, target creature you control gains flying until end of turn. Oh. That's fun. Pleated Provisioner. Bird Scout. Flying. 3/4. When Pleated Provisioner enters, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control without flying. Yeah, it's okay. Little art card. Seems cool. Oh, I got a rabbit token. Cute. Alright. Early Winter. Exile target creature or target opponent exiles an enchantment they control. That's decent. I don't like the fact that they get to choose, though. But it's something. Treeguard Duo. When Treeguard Duo enters until end of turn, target creature you control gains Vigilance and gets +X, where X is the number of creatures you control. Green seems like it'll be really fun in this set. Whisker Quill Scribe, Mouse Citizen, Valiant. Whenever Whisker Quill Scribe becomes the target of a spell or ability you control for the first time each turn, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. That has some good synergy with Feather the Redeemed. Because I can choose that as the target of an instant or sorcery, at least for one of the spells. I'll get that spell back, plus I can sift through something in my hand to try and get something better. That's a cool effect. Valiant. Shore Up is a 1-mana blue instant. Target creature you control gets +1/+1 and hexproof until end of turn. Untap it. Okay, we got Gruul, Junkblade Bruiser, Raccoon Berserker, 4/5. Trample. Whenever you expend 4, Junkblade Bruiser gets +2/+1 until end of turn. You expend 4 as you spend your 4th total mana to cast spells during a turn. Spend mana, so it's not just a matter of tapping 4 mana. Or maybe it is. But it says spend your 4th total mana to cast spells, so no, it's not. It's not a matter of just tapping. 1-mana artifact, Fountain Port Bell. When it enters, you may search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, then shuffle and put that card on top. Sacrifice it to draw a card. 1-mana artifact to get a land if you're mana stuck. That actually seems pretty decent. So you can choose what color you get. Peerless Recycling. Gift a card. Return target permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. If the gift was promised, instead return 2 target permanent cards from your graveyard to your hand. That seems kind of worth it. Like, let someone draw a card, who knows what it might be. It could be good, but it could be nothing. And you get 2 cards for certain from your graveyard. I'll take that bet. Star Charter. 3 generic, 1 white, Bat Cleric. It's a 3/1 flyer, and at the beginning of your end step, if you gained or lost life this turn, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature card with power 3 or less from among them, and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Okay, I like that. Now we have Stormcatch Mentor. 1/1 haste. Prowess. Instant and sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. That is good. I like that a lot. That almost has me convinced to try an Izzet deck. I've never played Izzet yet, though. Eddie Merc Crab. Flash 5/5. Costs 1 less to cast for each instant and sorcery card in your graveyard. Well, that goes well in an Izzet deck. Tender Wild Guide. Possum Druid. Add 1 mana of any color, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. Wow. I get pay 2 extra and I get 2 of them. Of course, the offspring starts as a 1/1, but still, that's cool. I like how many creatures in this set have the offspring effect. Plains and Crumb and Get It. Gift of food. Target creature you control gets +2/+2 until end of turn. If the gift was promised, that creature also gains indestructible until end of turn. This works well with Feather, because if I'm always choosing to gift a food, I can choose the blue player to take the gift to disincentivize them from countering the spell. And it's a good way to protect Feather from getting removed. It's just like, just let me keep casting it, and I'll just keep giving you food. It'll be nice. You want free life? I like the politic aspect of this set. That's cool. And Sonar Strike. 4 damage to target attacking, blocking, or tapped creature. Gain 3 life if you control a bat. Okay. This way, maybe. Scales of Shale. 1 less to cast for each lizard you control. Lizard Tribal. That could be fun. Gains +2 and gains lifelink and indestructible until end of turn. Nice little instant. Heaped Harvest. Artifact Food. When Heaped Harvest enters and when you sacrifice it, you may search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Sacrifice to gain 3 life. Pretty cool. Mono green seems very strong when it comes to being able to fetch land, even from the graveyard. Agate Assault. Deals 4 damage to target creature. If that creature would die, exile it instead, or exile target artifact. Artifact removal. Light Shell Duo. Rat Otter. Oh, because it's 2 people. I see. 2 critters. When it enters, surveil 2. Nice. Bellowing Crier. Frog Advisor. When it enters, draw a card, then discard a card. Okay. I have overlapping mouse mats underneath my play mat, so it's a little bit of an angle for the blue pile. Tempest Angler. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put a +1/+1 on Tempest Angler. Okay. Is it looking more and more appealing? Just try and straighten these out a bit. Hazard Root Herbalist. Seems fine. When you attack, target creature you control gets +1. If it's a token, it also gains Death Touch. Pretty strong if you're doing token creation. Ruthless Negotiation. Target opponent exiles a card from their hand. If the spell was cast from a graveyard, draw a card. Flashback. Okay, so if you do the flashback, you get the draw card. But there might be other ways to cheat this out from your graveyard to get even more card draw. Curious Forager we saw. Flowerfoot Swordmaster. 1 mana, white mouse soldier. Offspring 2. Whenever this creature becomes the target of a spell or ability you control for the first time, mice you control get +1/+0 until end of turn. Okay. Little mice tribal card. Castrol, the Wind Crested. Bird Scout. 4/5 flying. Whenever one or more birds you control deal combat damage to a player, choose one. Put a bird creature card from your hand or graveyard onto the battlefield with a finality counter on it. Put a +1/+1 counter on each bird you control, or draw a card. It's kind of interesting. I don't know if I've ever been into Azorius play, but could be interesting. And we got a foil Junkblade Bruiser. Intrepid Rabbit. 2 and a white. Offspring 1. When this creature enters, target creature you control gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Okay. Iridescent Vine Lasher token. Lizard Assassin with landfall. Whenever a land you control enters, this creature deals 1 damage to target opponent. Huh. Little pinger token? Interesting. Waxwane Witness. 3 and a white Bat Cleric. Flying Vigilance. Whenever you gain or lose life during your turn, this gets +1 power. Okay. Early Winter. Tree Guard Duo. Alania's Pathmaker is an Otter Wizard. 3 and a red. When it enters, exile the top card of your library. Until the end of your next turn, you may play that card. Okay. It's like getting an extra card in hand. Bark Form Harvester. 3 mana Shapeshifter. Every creature type. Reach. Pay 2, put target card from your graveyard on the bottom of your library. Interesting. 3 and a white or a blue. 3/3 flying Bird Scout. Whenever Seed Pod Squire attacks, target creature you control without flying gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Not bad. Gossip's Talent. Whenever a creature enters, surveil 1. Creature you control enters. Whenever you attack, target attacking creature with power 3 or less can't be blocked. Target attacking creature. Okay, so you just get 1, but still. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you may exile it, then return it to the battlefield under its owner's control. Okay. Little flicker effect. Wildfire Howl. Gift a card. Deals 2 damage to each creature. If the gift was promised, deals 1 damage to any target and 2 damage to each creature. Okay. This isn't like a massive board wipe, but it's like a small creature board wipe, especially for small tokens. If I gift a card, I can ping Feather the Redeemed for 1 damage so that I get this card back into my hand on my end step. That's a fun effect. I'll probably be using that. Splash Lasher, Frog Wizard, Offspring, 1 and a blue, but it's 3 and a blue for a 3/3. When it enters, tap up to 1 target creature and put a stun counter on it. Oh, okay. 6 mana to stun 2 creatures for a turn. Seems okay. Gev. This is the Rakdos commander, the lizard mercenary. Black and a red. Ward, pay 2 life. It's a 3/2. Other creatures you control enter with an additional +1/+1 counter on them for each opponent who lost life this turn. Whenever you cast a lizard spell, Gev Scaled Scourge deals 1 damage to target opponent. Huh. That could be fun. I haven't played much Rakdos either. Dragonhawk, Fate's Tempest, is a 3 and 2 red for a 5/5 bird dragon that flies. Whenever Dragonhawk enters or attacks, exile the top X cards of your library, where X is the number of creatures you control with power 4 or greater. You may play those cards until your next end step. At the beginning of your next end step, Dragonhawk deals 2 damage to each opponent for each of those cards that are still exiled. It incentivizes you to not play the cards. 2 damage to each opponent for each of those cards that are still exiled. Wow. So you just get a bunch of flying dragons on the board, and then you ping the crap out of them. And you could probably play this with like Gutter Snipe and Fiery Inscription, so that even if you choose to cast the spell, if it's an instant or sorcery, then you're pinging them anyway. That is really good mono red. Bushy Bodyguard. 1 and a green for a Squirrel Warrior 2/1. With Offspring 2. When it enters, you may forage. If you do, put 2 +1/+1 counters on it. Dang. Okay. Finch formation we saw. And some more art. Oops. Well, that one opened kind of funny. Light Shell Duo. We've seen that. Sonar Strike we've seen. Dagger Fang Duo. 2 and a black for 3/2 Rat Squirrel. Death Touch. When it enters, you may mill 2 cards. Okay. 3 Tree Root Weaver. 1 and a green for a 1/3 Mole Druid. Tap to add 1 mana of any color. Okay, so Mana Dork. Not bad. Whisker Quill Scribe we've seen. Dire Downdraft we've seen. War Squeak. 1 red for an enchantment aura. Enchant creature. When War Squeak enters, target creature and opponent controls can't block this turn. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and has haste. Okay, so you can haste a creature for 1. Short Bow. 2 mana artifact equipment. Oh, it's a little bunny. He's got an arrow and it looks like it has a little Easter egg on the tip of the arrow. That's funny. I like that. Is it? Or maybe it's a rock, but it looks like an Easter egg because it's egg shaped. That's funny. Equipped creature gets +1/+1, has vigilance and reach. Pretty good equipment, actually. Stargaze. X generic and 2 black. Sorcery. Look at twice X cards from the top of your library. Put X cards from among them into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. Lose X life. If I'm playing Rakdos, there's a interesting combination here where I have this planeswalker called Tybalt Rakish Instigator, where the static ability is actually its opponents can't lose life. I thought maybe I could cheat losing life, but no, I can't. Oh well. Starseer Mentor. 3 in a white and black. Flying Vigilance 3/5. At the beginning of your end step, if you gained or lost life this turn, target opponent loses 3 life unless they sacrifice a non-land permanent or discard a card. Dang. That is vicious. Brazen Collector. 1 generic and a red for a 2/1 Raccoon Rogue. First strike. Whenever Brazen Collector attacks, add 1 red mana. Until end of turn, you don't lose this mana as steps and phases end. Cool. That's actually decent. Thundertrap Trainer we've saw. Another Swamp. Getting lots of cool looking basics. I like that. Sticky Tongue Sentinel. 2 and a green for a 3/3 Frog Warrior with Reach. When Sticky Tongue Sentinel enters, return up to 1 other target permanent you control to its owner's hand. Okay. Little bounce effect. Oh, and we have our fish token. Nice. So when I gift a fish, I can give them this token. That's fun. Okay. Life Creed Duo. 1 and a white for a 1/2 Bat Bird. Flying, whenever another creature you control enters, you gain 1 life. Cool. That's, I think, 2 different creatures that gain life for creatures entering. Agate Blade Assassin. 1 and a black for a 1/3 Lizard Assassin. Whenever it attacks, defending player loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Oh, I think I already saw that. Fair enough. Treetop Sentries. Raccoon Rallier. 1 and a red for a 2/2 Raccoon Bard. Tap, target creature you control gains haste until end of turn. Activate only as a sorcery. That's kind of neat. Allows you to get something going quickly. Water Sprout Warden. It attacks another creature. If another creature enters the battlefield under your control this turn, Water Sprout Warden gains flying. Okay. Deleted Provisioner we have seen. Junkblade Bruiser we've seen. I think I have 3 of them now. 3 Tree Mascot. 2 mana Shapeshifter. Add 1 mana of any color. Activate only once each turn. Okay, so you pay 1. So it's mana correction. But only for 1 mana. That's okay. Lupin Flower Village. So it's a add colorless or add white, but you can only spend white to cast a creature spell. That's fine. 1 and a white and sacrifice the village. Look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may reveal a bat, bird, mouse, or rabbit card from among them. Put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Interesting. We have green and a white for a don't know what rabbit soldier with trample. Beauregard Mentor. Power and toughness are equal to the number of creatures you control. Huh. Interesting that it's called Mentor, but doesn't have Mentor, the ability. That would be kind of cool. Because if you had a lot of creatures, then you could start buffing those creatures by swinging with this, but it's just a trampler. Anyway. Bark Knuckle Boxer. 1 and a green for a 3/2 Raccoon Berserker. When you expend 4, Bark Knuckle Boxer gains indestructible until end of turn. Okay. Very vicious raccoon. 1 and a red for a 2/2 Mouse Warrior. Emberheart Challenger has haste and prowess, and when it becomes the target of a spell or ability you control for the first time each turn, exile the top card of your library. Until end of turn, you may play that card. That's kind of okay. I'm never really a big fan of those effects. I usually am at a point where I can't spend any more mana for the turn anyway. So I just end up exiling a card. Starforged Sword. 4 mana. Gift a tapped fish. When Starforged Sword enters, if the gift was promised, attach Starforged Sword to target creature you control. Equipped creature gains +3/+3 and loses flying. Huh. That's different. Another rabbit token. I've been saying I really am keen, if I can make it work, doing like a rabbit tribal where you're just producing an absolute ton of bunnies. Death by bunnies sounds like a really fun way to win the game. Ooh, this is becoming a bit of a mess. Early Winter, Treeguard Duo, Whisker Quill Scribe, Shore Up. Oh, we saw this. Intrepid Rabbit, 2 and a white, Offspring, target creature gets +1. Yeah, we see this. Scales of Shale, we've seen. Bellowing Crier, Uncharted Haven. Uncharted Haven enters tapped. As it enters, choose a color. Add 1 mana of the chosen color. Okay. Not bad. Like if you're getting a land and you've already established some land and you need a specific color, then you can just fix your mana this way. That's pretty good. Short Bow. Huskbuster Swarm. 7 generic and a black for a 6/6 elemental insect. Costs 1 less to cast for each creature card you own in exile and in your graveyard. Menace and Death Touch. Wow. That's scary. Rabid Gnaw. Oh yeah, that's where you buff and do damage. This is actually quite a good instant for Feather also. Because usually you're storming a bunch of spells, then you can cast this as a finisher, immediately do damage to some target equal to the power to a target creature, but still. Iridescent Vine Lasher. Okay, that couples with this guy. So if I make an Offspring, this is the Offspring token. Cool. Swamp. This is my swamp. Finch Formation. Foil 1. Cute. And we got the... Is it a Squirrel Warlock art? That's fun. Okay. don't know how this one slipped in. It ended up getting creased from the box. Oh well. One of them came intact. It's pretty art. Nice. I'm probably going to start using these to track my life. As a Canadian, it's very satisfying to have the double maple leaf. I like that. Okay, so these are how to play. This is the special alt art and a bunch of lands, so we'll leave those nicely sealed up for now. Conduct electricity. 4 and a red. Deal 6 damage to target creature. And 2 damage up to 1 target creature token. Huh. So, I'm always thinking in the context of Feather the Redeemed if I'm dealing with red or white cards. And with this, I would be able to deal 6 damage to some creature that someone else owns, but if I'm producing tokens, which is a strat that I've been trying out lately, I could basically either damage or destroy one of my tokens, but it's a targeted creature on my side of the board that an instant is targeting, and I'd get this back to my hand to do it again. It's a lot of mana for 6 damage though. But if I get to do it over and over again and I don't have anything else in my hand to do, it's an interesting thought. Shore up. Carrot cake. 1 in white, artifact food. When it enters and when you sacrifice it, create a 1/1 rabbit and scry 1. And you can sacrifice it to gain 3 life. That's cool. This actually works really well with the corgi dog, Philia, because I could just keep exiling this, bringing this back, getting a ton of little bunnies. So I could have a corgi that's just like flashing in a massive bunny army. That's fun. I like that idea. Keep that in mind. Savor. Oh, right. Yeah, I was watching Pay Money Wubby crack cards and I saw this. The art is really interesting where it's just like, it's a lizard's glowing purple eye, but you can see like this scared little squirrel. Poor little squirrel's getting eaten. Oh no. -2/-2 until end of turn and create a food token. Yeah. Poor squirrel. 3 and a green for a 4/4 raccoon warrior with offspring 2. This creature can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. Oh, okay. Rust Shield Rampager. That's kind of fun. So, if you're going to block this, you have to block with something bigger. That's kind of satisfying, because a lot of people will like to chump block with a small creature, so... Pretty good. Another Fountain Port Bell for fetching mana of certain color if you want. For a basic land card. And then you can sacrifice the bell to draw. But if you keep it on board, the way I was suggesting before, then you could potentially keep flashing this, tutoring out more basic lands of the colors you need specifically, which is kind of an interesting way to correct your colors. 2 and 2 white. Rabbit Response. Instant. Creatures you control get +2/+1 until end of turn. If you control a rabbit, scry 2. That's decent. Star Charter is the Bat Cleric. If you gained or lost life, then you can reveal a creature card with power 3 or less and put it into your hand. That's cool. Stormcatch Mentor. That was the Is It Otter. That seems cool. Moonstone Harbinger. 2 and a black for a 1/3 Bat Warrior with Flying and Death Touch. Whenever you gain or lose life during your turn, bats you control get +1/+0 and gain Death Touch until end of turn. This ability triggers once each turn. Harnesser of Storms. 2 and a red for a 1/4 Otter Wizard. Whenever you cast a non-creature or otter spell, exile the top card of your library. Until end of turn, you may play that card. This ability triggers only once each turn. It's okay. Valley Rot Collar. 1 and a black for a 1/3 Squirrel Warlock with Menace. Whenever it attacks, each opponent loses X life and you gain X life, where X is the number of other squirrels, bats, lizards, and rats you control. It's an interesting combination being suggested here. Island. I'll start putting them on top. It's whatever. 2 and a green for a 1/2 Frog Scout. Clifftop Lookout has reach. When Clifftop Lookout enters, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a land card. Put that card onto the battlefield tapped and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Okay, so if you're starting to get land screwed, you just play this and you'll keep sifting through your library until you hit a land. It's fun. And we got one of the new squirrel tokens. He actually looks badass. He's got like a staff with spikes on it. I have other squirrel tokens, but this guy looks like a real warrior. Cool. Sazakap's Brew. Got a few of those now. Dire Downdraft. Orin Elder. 1 and a white for a 2/2 Rabbit Cleric. You can pay 3 and a white, and creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. That's decent. 3 and a black for a 4/3 Rat Rogue. Thornplate Intimidator has Offspring 3. When this creature enters, target opponent loses 3 life unless they sacrifice a non-land permanent or discard a card. Damn. That is mean. Three and a green for Polywallop. It's an instant. Costs 1 less to cast for each frog you control, and target creature you control deals damage equal to twice its power to target creature you don't control. That's pretty strong removal potential. Especially if you're doing the Bloomburrow as your commander, you get her all buffed up with how many lands you have in your control, then you cast that. And if the damage source is the commander, you could probably just one-shot somebody with Polywallop and deal commander damage, if I'm not mistaken. I will fact check that. I'm not the best Magic player. Frilled Sparkshooter. 3 and a red for a 3/3 Lizard Archer. Menace and Reach. Frilled Sparkshooter enters with a +1/+1 counter on it if an opponent lost life this turn. Cool. Tempest Angler. Whenever you cast non-creature spell, put +1/+1. I think we've seen that guy. Mind Drill Assailant is 2 and a blue, 2 and 2 blue or black for a 2/5 Rat Warlock. threshold. As long as 7 or more cards are in your graveyard, Mind Drill Assailant gets +3. Oh, so it becomes a 5/5 at that point. And you can pay 2 and 1 blue or black to surveil 1. Hazard Root Herbalist. 2 and a green for a 1/4 Rabbit Druid. Whenever you attack, target creature you control gets +1/+0 until end of turn. If that creature is a token, it also gains Death Touch until end of turn. Ruthless Negotiation. Black and green for a 3/2 Squirrel Druid, Vine Reap Mentor. When Vine Reap Mentor enters or dies, create a food token. I was actually really curious if I could get the Rabbit Warrior Commander. There he is. Balin, the Haymaker, is red, green, white, legendary creature, Rabbit Warrior, 4/3. Tap 2 untapped tokens you control, add 1 mana of any color. Tap 3 untapped tokens you control, draw a card. Or tap 4 untapped tokens you control, put 3 +1/+1 counters on Balin, the Haymaker. It gains trample until end of turn. There's a lot of potential to win by commander damage with this guy. And also just create a ton of rabbits. Like, I'm very curious to see if I have the means to build around this guy. I think I am. I might even be able, if I have the right pieces, maybe take apart my Feather the Redeemed deck and go into a tricolor and incorporate Feather the Redeemed and her effects into that deck. That would be pretty cool. I have to figure out a way to consistently get her out on board, though. We have 1 and a white for a 3/1 Mouse Soldier, Nettle Guard. He is Valiant. Whenever Nettle Guard becomes the target of a spell or ability you control for the first time each turn, it gets 2 toughness until end of turn. You can pay 1 and sacrifice to destroy target artifact or enchantment. Oh, okay, so it's a creature on board, but you can sacrifice it for some removal. That's a decent card. I like that. And we got ourselves a food token. I already had a few of those, but this is the little Bloomburrow picnic version. Very cute. The one thing that I've been kind of holding out for is Storm Splitter, the Red Otter. I'm not sure if I'm going to get there, but that's okay. Oh, this is the Bloomburrow version of Runaway Together. It's so cute. The original Runaway Together with like the weird creatures looks so strange, but this one it's just like, oh, they're sailing away. It's a little otter and a frog in love. They're so cute. 1 and a blue. Choose 2 target creatures controlled by different players, return them to their owner's hands. And Intrepid Rabbit we have seen. Psychic Whirl. 2 and a black for a sorcery. Target opponent discards 2 cards. If you control a rat, surveil 2. Wow. That is a mean card. Treetop Sentries. Might of the Meek. 1 red for an instant. Target creature gains trample until end of turn. It also gets +1 until end of turn if you control a mouse. Draw a card. This isn't terrible. Granting trample in some way is an effect that I like using when I'm swinging with Feather. And the fact that it also lets you draw a card is great. I don't even necessarily care about controlling a mouse. Like, getting 1 power is also nice, but the other 2 aspects of the card are more appealing to me. And we got War Squeak, that enchantment. Head of the Homestead. 3 and 2 green or white for a 3/2 rabbit citizen. When Head of the Homestead enters, create 2 1/1 white rabbit creature tokens. That's a card that I want to flash in and out and produce a lot of bunnies with. Bunny Army, let's go. And we got another one of these white lands. That's cool. 2 and a white for a 3/2 Mouse Soldier, Mouse Trapper with Flash. Whenever Mouse Trapper becomes the target of a spell or ability you control for the first time each turn, tap target creature an opponent controls. Not bad to get a giant blocker out of the way. One in a blue for a 2/1 Bird Scout with Flash and Flying. Plum Creed Escort is a Bird Scout. When it enters, target creature you control gains hexproof until end of turn. Nice little flash response when someone's trying to remove your creature. You just suddenly give it hexproof before it resolves. 2 and a green for a 3/2 Squirrel Druid, Curious Forager. Whenever Curious Forager enters, you may forage. When you do, return target permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. I probably already saw this, to be honest. Just didn't remember it. And 1 green for a 2/2 Frog Warrior, Mist Breath Elder. At the beginning of your upkeep, return another creature you control to its owner's hand. If you do, put a +1/+1 counter on Mist Breath Elder. Otherwise, you may return Mist Breath Elder to its owner's hand. That's kind of fun. Like, yeah, the thing bounces back to your hand and you have to pay mana to recast it, but it's another way to start really leveraging those enter the battle effects. Okay. Oh. This isn't the one I was waiting for, but this is one of the other ones I was waiting for. Coruscation Mage. 1 and a red for a 2/2 Otter Wizard with Offspring 2, so I can make a token with the same effect. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, this creature deals 1 damage to each opponent. This is good. I like this guy. Very cool. And we got another fish token. Just gonna go ahead and sleeve this guy right now, because I know that he's definitely going into the feather deck. Without a doubt, that is an addition that I was looking forward to. We already have Gutter Snipe. This is just another way that I can leverage my instants and sorceries to deal damage to the board. Really cool. Not deal damage to the board, deal damage to my opponents. But yeah, I might even set this aside in a more apparent location, because that's gonna get sleeved in. Came in foil too. Very nice. Pearl of Wisdom, 2 and a blue. Cost 1 less to cast if you control an otter. Draw 2 cards. Okay, that's pretty good for... Is it? Crumb and get it. Dire Sight. 2 and a black. Surveil 2, draw 2 cards, lose 2 life. 3-tree Rootweaver, Manadork. Conduct Electricity. Seed Pod Squire. Whoa. This is a cool little critter. 3 and 1 red or white for a 3/4 mouse soldier, veteran guard mouse. Whenever veteran guard mouse becomes the target of a spell or ability you control for the first time each turn, it gets +1 power and first strike until end of turn. Scry 1. That's an interesting card. I don't hate that. Valley Rally. 2 and a red. Instant. Gift of food. Creatures you control get +2 power until end of turn. If the gift was promised, target creature you control gains first strike until end of turn. So it's an instant that buffs all my creatures, but if I'm always gifting a food to someone, then it's granted the ability to target a creature specifically, which enables Feather to then trigger and have this be able to be cast over and over again, which is pretty cool. It's almost like having Zada or Mirrorwing Dragon to copy this to all the other creatures. I like that. And it just has to be one of the creatures I control to give first strike, as long as Feather's on the board. It doesn't have to be Feather. That's cool. I like that. Clifftop Lookout. Daring Wave Rider. Seedglaive Mentor. Festival of Embers. 4 and a red enchantment. During your turn, you may cast instant and sorcery spells from your graveyard by paying 1 life in addition to their other costs. If a card or token would be put into your graveyard from anywhere, exile it instead. You can pay 1 and a red to sacrifice Festival of Embers. Why would you do that? Sacrifice Festival of Embers. But the other thing I'm curious about is the interaction with this and Feather again, because you get this notion of if a card or token would be put into the graveyard from anywhere, exile it instead. But if I'm interacting with Feather, then I'm potentially able to choose the order of how these triggers resolve, and instead of it getting exiled forever, it could just end up coming back to my hand from the graveyard. I think there's potential for this. I'll have to double check. Got a swamp. And we got ourselves a foil Head of the Homestead. That's nice. And some cute art with the artist's signature. It's pretty. I like that. Dazzling Denial. Counter target spell unless its controller pays 2. If you control a bird, counter that spell unless its controller pays 4 instead. Damn. That's a pretty good counter spell. I like that. Brave Kin Duo. 1 white for a 1/1 rabbit mouse. Target creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Activate only as a sorcery. Okay. Not bad. Scales of Shale. Longstalk Brawl. Green for a sorcery. Gift a tapped fish. Choose target creature you control and target creature you don't control. Put a +1/+1 counter on the creature you control. If the gift was promised, then those creatures fight each other. Okay. That's pretty good. Steam Path Charger. 1 and a red for a 2/1 Lizard Warlock with Offspring 2. When this creature dies, it deals 1 damage to target player. That's okay. I would prefer any target, but I mean, pinging a player, that's fine. Green for an instant, high stride. Target creature gets +1/+3 and gains reach until end of turn. Untap it. Okay. That's pretty cool. Someone has their guard down because your creature's tapped, and then suddenly, bang, they're untapped and they can reach a flyer. Pretty good instant. Barkform Harvester. Dewdrop Cure. 2 and a white. You can gift a card. Return up to 2 target creature cards, each with mana value 2 or less, from your graveyard to the battlefield. If the gift was promised, instead return up to 3 target creature cards with mana value 2 or less from the graveyard to the battlefield. Decent. That's pretty good. I feel like, you know, for example, this guy is an eligible target. Gutter Snipe is an eligible target. People hate on those creatures because how every time I cast and storm out a bunch of spells repetitively, they're getting pinged for damage. So if somebody figures out a way, or even just board wipes to get rid of them, then I can play this, and they just come right back out to the field. Good card. Lily Splash Mentor, 2 and a green and a blue. For a 4/4 frog druid with reach, you can pay 1 a green and a blue, exile another target creature you control, and return it to the battlefield under its owner's control with a +1/+1 counter on it. Activate only as a sorcery. Pretty cool. Gossip's Talent. We got one of those before. Rabid Gnaw. Essence Channeler. 1 and a white. 2/1 Bat Cleric. As long as you've lost life this turn, Essence Channeler has flying and vigilance. Whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on Essence Channeler. When Essence Channeler dies, put its counters on target creature you control. Damn. That's actually really good. I like that. Nice little foil mountain. Very pretty. Bandit's Talent. 1 in the black. When Bandit's Talent enters, each opponent discards 2 cards unless they discard a non-land card. Level 2 for a black. At the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, if that player has 1 or fewer cards in hand, they lose 2 life. No emptying your hand. 3 in a black for level 3. At the beginning of your draw step, draw an additional card for each opponent who has 1 or fewer cards in hand. Interesting. Nothing crazy, but interesting. I feel like most of the black cards that I've drawn have some like lose life, gain life, or forcing my opponents to discard, which is not something that my usual game table enjoys. But it's just how black works. If I play black, you just kind of have to expect it. Mind Spiral, Sonar Strike, Early Winter, Tree Guard Duo, Whisker Quill Scribe, Shore Up, Rabbit Response, Tempest Angler, Long River Lurker, Peerless Recycling, Tidecall Mentor, 1 blue black, 3/3 Rat Wizard with Menace, Threshold. When Tidecaller Mentor enters, if 7 or more cards are in your graveyard, return up to 1 target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. 3 Tree City. is a legendary land. As it enters, choose a creature type, add colorless, or tap 2 and tap to choose a color. Add an amount of mana of that color equal to the number of creatures you control of the chosen type. Damn. That is a strong tribal deck land, if I ever seen one. Very cool. I might have to sleeve that up. I'm not that savvy when it comes to, oh, what cards are expected to have high value, etc. But lands are typically quite expensive, and when they offer a lot of mana, as this one might, like that sits well with this like rabbit tribal situation. I'm actually very curious to find out now. 3 Tree City. Yep, that's number 260. That's like almost a 19 euro card. Damn. Very nice. Nice pull. Jolly Gerbils is a 1 and a white for a 2/3 hamster citizen. Whenever you give a gift, draw a card. Oh my gosh. There are so many cards that I want to play that offer gifts. And it's in white, so if I'm doing it with Feather, with Instance, I just get to draw so many cards as a result of this. This is quite good. I'm gonna sleeve this up and set it aside. Anytime that I find a card that is well suited for Feather the Redeemed, the commander, I'm always really pleased that it's also in foil. Very cool. Intrepid Rabbit, Scales of Shale, Heaped Harvest, Gate Assault, Light Shell Duo, Bankform Harvester, Corpseberry Cultivator for 1 and 2 of black or green for a 2/3 Squirrel Warlock. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may forage. Whenever you forage, put a +1/+1 counter on Corpseberry Cultivator. So this one really benefits from foraging. Star Charter, Stormcatch Mentor, Jolly Gerbils, the non-foil edition, Consumed by Greed for 1 and 2 black, gift a card. Target opponent sacrifices a creature with the greatest power among creatures they control. If the gift was promised, return target creature from your graveyard to your hand. Pretty good. Dark Star Augur for 2 and a black. 2/3 Bat Warlock with Offspring, 1 black. Flying, at the beginning of your upkeep, reveal the top card of your library and put that card into your hand. You lose life equal to its mana value. Oh crap. So you're getting an extra card, but everybody gets to see it. And if you have big CMC, you're getting smashed in the face for it. Well, it is what it is. 1 mana for Heirloom Epic, and it's foil too. Artifact, 4 mana and tap. Draw a card for each mana in this ability's activation cost. You may tap an untapped creature you control rather than pay that mana. Activate only. So you get it onto the board for 1. You pay 4 and tap it to draw a card. For each mana in this ability's activation cost, 4, you may tap an untapped creature you control rather than pay that mana. Oh, okay, so I could tap any amount of creatures to pay for this 4, and I would just draw a card. That's pretty good. If I feel like I'm not going to attack anyway, and I just make it less expensive. I don't like that. I know with this, I'm definitely looking at going the direction of tokens, but I'm also thinking of doing some kind of token strategy with Feather, so either deck would benefit from this. Cool. Thistledown Players. 2 and a white for a 3/3 Mouse Bard. Whenever Thistledown Players attacks, untap target non-land permanent. Huh. Okay. Seems good. Gate Blade Assassin. Longstalk Brawl. Might of the Meek. Mind Spiral. Nettle Guard. War Squeak. Pond Prophet. 2 green or blue. When Pond Prophet enters, draw a card. Okay. Hazard Root Herbalist. We've seen. Ruthless Negotiation. Plume Creed Escort. Storm Chaser's Talent. Whenever Storm Chaser's Talent enters, create a 1/1 blue and red otter creature token with prowess. 3 and a blue to level 2. When this class becomes level 2, return target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. 5 in blue for level 3. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, create a 1/1 blue and red otter creature token with prowess. Okay. So it's a token generator. Pretty cool. Plains. Pearl of Wisdom. And another food token. Okay. Last one. Show me Storm Splitter. Glide Dive Duo. 3/3 Bat Lizard flying. When it enters, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. That's a cool card to kind of flicker in and out. Cash Grab. Take out the trash. 1 in a red. Instant. I like how it's a picture of a raccoon that's like doing some kind of wizardry. Take out the trash, deals 3 damage to target creature or planeswalker. If you control a raccoon, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. Not bad. Night Whirl Hermit. 2 and a blue for a 1/4 rat rogue. Vigilance. Threshold, as long as 7 or more cards are in your graveyard, Night Whirl Hermit gets +1 power and can't be blocked. Waxwane Witness. I think we saw that guy. Uncharted Haven. That's the mana fixing land. That's pretty cool. Moonrise Cleric. When it attacks, you gain life. Another one of these white villages. That's interesting. Mouse Trapper. Bramble Guard Captain for 3 and a red, 2/3 Mouse Soldier. At the beginning of combat on your turn, target creature you control gets plus X power until end of turn, where X is Bramble Guard Captain's power. Okay. So if I'm focusing on casting all of my target creature instant sorceries on this guy, buff its power way up, and then take that power and add it to Feather. So I can swing in for Commander plus another big creature. Or I don't even necessarily have to swing with this guy. I can just make him really big and stand there. But, like on the defensive side of things. Huh. Nifty. Driftgloom Coyote. 3 and 2 white for a 3/4 elemental coyote. When Driftgloom Coyote enters, exile target creature an opponent controls until Driftgloom Coyote leaves the battlefield. If that creature had power 2 or less, put a +1/+1 counter on Driftgloom Coyote. Okay. So I could remove some, like, utility creature of theirs that has power 2 or less in order to make this guy even bigger. It's pretty cool. It's white. Hearthborn Battler. 2 in red for a 2/3 Lizard Warlock with haste. Whenever a player casts their second spell each turn, Hearthborn Battler deals 2 damage to target opponent. That's kind of cool. Because it's any player, including myself, if you cast your second spell, then I get to choose the target opponent that takes the 2 damage. That's a nice little politics card, I think. Because I can be like, hey, if you cast another spell, I'll hit him. Hunter's Talent. Came in foil. And we got a Manifold Mouse token, so no Storm Splitter. Oh well. 1 in green. Whenever Hunter's Talent enters, target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature you don't control. Whenever you attack, target attacking creature gets +1 power and gains trample until end of turn. That was level 2, sorry, for 1 in a green. And for level 3, 3 in a green, at the beginning of your end step, if you control a creature with power 4 or greater, draw a card. That's similar effect to, I think it's Colossal Mastery. Just saw that card played the other day. So if you had that on board, plus this leveled up, drawing 2 cards every end step, as long as you have a big enough creature. Very nice. Some pretty good pulls. If I had to guess, probably where I did the best was this land. I'm not too sure about the rest. I mean, Balin is an interesting commander, but there's no way he's going to be any more expensive than what his deck costs. But I don't think of the commanders precons that were available, I don't think he's like the one to necessarily write home about. $205. Yeah, he's only $1. But for some reason, oh right, the golden bordered one with all the fancy art. That one's worth $107 US. Jesus, just for some fancy art. I'm not that picky about art. But anyways, I'm gonna sift through this and see how I did value-wise, but I'm quite happy with my pulls. I definitely got some good stuff to add to decks that I've already made, and I've got some great ideas for some new stuff that I'd like to make, especially regarding rabbits. So hopefully you enjoyed following along. This is kind of like a chill video that you can watch and put on in the background, because I don't know how visually clear everything was unless I hold it up to the screen. You might have to end up Googling a lot of these cards, because I don't know if it's worth the effort to individually add in graphics of flashing each card on screen. But yeah, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.